All right, it is time to start up another franchise mode here on NHL 20 with the Calgary Flames. We are back, and it is time to get the Calgary Flames back to where they belong and winning a Stanley Cup. So good to be back here, starting up another franchise mode with the Calgary Flames out of the Western Conference, a team that is now contending to win a Stanley Cup for the first time since 1989. So yes, welcome to our franchise mode with the Calgary Flames here on NHL 20 as we are underway here on episode number 1 here with the Calgary Flames. And just quickly here, we're going to turn off owner mode, player morale. Let's get that off, and the head coach editing lines. We don't need any of that on here. We're going to keep it with the classic franchise mode or classic GM mode here with EA Sports. So yes, welcome to the Calgary Flames and our quest at getting the Stanley Cup. The Flames are a contender, and we are going to try and take advantage of that here in NHL 20. All right, I want to make one quick change here in terms of settings before we get started. And that's just here under gameplay sliders, and that is with the injuries. I've seen a few simulations already here in NHL 20 and franchise modes, and I have seen that injuries have been a problem. They've been happening way too frequently, and obviously we want to keep them realistic in terms of how often they are happening. We do want injuries on in this game, but we just want to make sure they're realistic in terms of how they're happening and when they're happening, especially involving our top players and stuff. We don't need them happening every single game and every single day to our top players, but we do need them happening throughout the season as they are part of the game. So yes, let's get underway here with the Calgary Flames. So let's begin our franchise mode, keep the salary cap on. So as mentioned, the Calgary Flames are a team that is contending to win the Stanley Cup. You're going to hear that quite a bit because it is true. The Flames are a top team. They finished first overall in the Western Conference last year in the regular season. Of course, they were almost swept by the Colorado Avalanche, won game 1 there 4-0, but then got swept in the next few games and lost in 5 the Colorado Avalanche. A very disappointing end to what was an incredible regular season for the Calgary Flames, one of their best in franchise history, and then of course they choked there in the playoffs. So obviously we're going to try and turn that around and maximize the Flames' 3-year window here to win, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. But the Calgary Flames, like I said, contenders. They've got a good young team poised to do some damage. We just need to take advantage of that now. So let's get right into the Flames contracts. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in terms of window. So we're going to go by potential here. And you can actually see that Sean Monahan is our highest potential player with an elite high potential, which is a little strange because look at Johnny Gaudreau, who's only at an elite medium, as well as Matthew Tkachuk. If there's one thing that EA Sports has done wrong here in this game, and that's made that Sean Monahan an elite high and Gaudreau and Tkachuk only an elite medium. Obviously, Gaudreau, Tkachuk should probably be an elite high. Monahan should be an elite medium, but you know what? It is what it is. We'll just roll with what we've got here. You can see there, Noah Hanifin, also an elite medium. Yusuf Valimaki, also an elite medium. That's our 2 future pieces of the blue line. There's our Norris Trophy winner, Mark Giordano, the captain, 89 overall, but an exact elite because he is 35 years of age. Elias Lindholm coming in at top 6 medium. Mark Jankowski, Mangiapane, and so on. But the thing I want to look at in this screen here is I just want to show you quickly is our 3-year window. So when we go by players, by the highest paid players on this team, you'll notice that Matthew Tkachuk, fresh off that 3-year, $7 million AAV deal. But Tkachuk, Giordano, and Gaudreau, who are both making 6.75, each have 3 years left on their contracts. That's why we have a 3-year window. Sean Monahan has 1 extra year, so he has 4 years left. But really, our 3 top players in Gaudreau, Tkachuk, and Giordano only have 3 years left. Now, Tkachuk is an RFA at 21 years of age, will be an RFA when his contract expires. But both Gaudreau and Giordano are going to hit the open market. Giordano likely will probably be retiring. His 89 is going to significantly decline over the next 3 years as he is 35 years of age. So that will significantly decline. Johnny Gaudreau is the interesting factor here because he could potentially, both in real life and in this game, hit the free agency market. We all know the rumors of Johnny Gaudreau wanting to go back closer to home, closer to Philadelphia. Does he sign with the Flyers? Does he sign with another Eastern Conference team out there? There's a good potential, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does, again, both in real life and in this game, to see if he decides to hit the open market. So what we want to do Our goal in this game is to take advantage of those 3 years with Tkachuk, Gaudreau, Giordano, and even Monahan, who's only got another year left until he's a free agent as well. And again, you don't know what's going to happen in this game. Maybe Sean Monahan wants to test the open market. That would sure suck because, I mean, again, an elite high in this game at 88 overall, at 24 years of age still. This is huge for us. He's probably one of our biggest pieces if Gaudreau does leave this team, and obviously Giordano retires. So I just wanted to look at that. That's our 3-year window there with our top end players. Let's quickly go here to our trade screen so we can just look at our overall roster and what we got here in terms of potential. So or in terms of trade value is what I meant to say. So you can see when we sort here by trade value, there is Sean Monahan, like I said, number 1 on that list of trade value because he does have the highest potential. So he is he is an 88 overall, so he does have the highest trade value. Johnny Gaudreau, slightly lower trade value. Again, not realistic. Gaudreau should be up there. Monahan should be right there, but it is what it is. Even Tkachuk, look at his trade value compared to Monahan. Just not realistic at all. But again, Tkachuk is an 85, Monahan's an 88, so that could be a part of it. There's Juuso Välimäki at the top. Good to see him at the top again. Really, really high potential for Juuso Välimäki to be the next big defenseman in Calgary, and maybe one day win a Norris, just like what Mark Giordano did. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but you never know. He's only 20 years of age. A lot of hype for Juuso Välimäki. No Hanifin again up there as well. Again, Hanifin, Välimäki will likely be your 2 top defensemen. Both projected to be top, both are projected to be elite medium, but top pairing defenseman for this team. And then there's Rasmus Andersson, who comes in at a high top 4 potential and 80 overall. This guy has the potential to be a top 4 defenseman, obviously, for our team as well, and we hope that he can get there, as well as Oliver Shillington, which we'll see in a little bit here. There's Dylan Dubé there, probably our top prospect in the American League, top 6 high potential for Dylan Dubé, just 21 years of age, but only a 75 overall. He needs to grow quite a bit there in the AHL. There's Elias Lindholm, 86, 24 years of age, and top 6 medium potential with him as well. Giordano, our captain, 89. There's Backlund at 84 overall. Both TJ Brody and Travis Hamonic here, top 4D, but they both have their contract expiring after this year. Good chance that we don't bring either of these guys back as they both are veterans. And of course, we have the emergence of Rasmus Andersson, Noah Hanifin, and Juuso Välimäki that should be able to bump Brody and Hamonic hopefully by next year out of a top 4 spot, and that should clip quite a bit of cap space for us as well. And then when we go down the roster there's Oliver Shillington. That's what I was saying, another top 4 potential defenseman for us. So you can see, and for those who do follow the Flames closely already know this, but you can see that our defensemen for the future are stacked. We do not need to worry about the blue line. We have quite a very bright future on the back end for the Calgary Flames. I mean, potentially with Juuso Välimäki and Noah Hanifin, and then Rasmus Andersson and Oliver Shillington, those could possibly be our 4 top defensemen of the future going forward in this game and in real life. It'll be really interesting to see. So we might not have any use for guys like Brody and Hamonic and Giordano as the years go on, and that's a good thing because we can clear up all that cap space. Obviously, we'll keep Giordano because nobody's going to take him. Plus, he's only got 3 years left. Plus, he's our captain, and he's still pretty good. I do expect that to decline though quite a bit. But you can see where we're heading with the blue line. Our blue line looks excellent. We just need to find a way to continue to work around it. Continue to tweak it. There's always going to be stuff going on, and then focus on other areas. There's Jacob Peltre, the Flames' first-round pick from this past June. You can see they're just 18 years of age, 64 overall, but top 6 medium potential there in the CHL. He'll begin his season with the Moncton Wildcats of the QMJHL. There's Andrew Mangiapane, top 6 medium potential for him. Michael Frolik is an exact, and then Sam Bennett there, top 6 low potential. Matthew Phillips, top 6 low. Michael Stone, Jankowski, he's already 25, top 6 medium, and then onward, and this is pretty much our AHL players down here. So just a quick look there. One thing I do want to get to here, and I'm going to try and go through this as quick as possible, but take a look at our goaltending screen. You can see that there's quite a bit here on our goaltending screen. Now, there's 7 guys. Dustin Wolf here, you can scratch him off this list because he's going to begin in the CHL. I forget what team he plays for, but Dustin Wolf is in the juniors. He's going to begin his career in the juniors for us in this franchise mode. The other 6 guys, Riddick, Parsons, Zagadulin, Schneider, Gillies, and Talbot, all are fighting for just 2 starting spots on the AHL and NHL team. Now, we already know that David Rittich and Cam Talbot are 2 NHL goalies, so that takes care of that. But basically, Parsons, Zagadulin, Schneider, and Gillies are fighting for those final 2 spots, one as a starter and one as a backup in the AHL. So we have quite a logjam here of goalies in our system. So we need to figure out this. This is going to be our biggest problem. Now, I'm going to try and make this as short as possible. I'm going to put this in the best terms that I can. But goaltending has always been an issue for the Calgary Flames over the years, ever since the departure of Mika Kiprusoff in 2013. The Flames have cycled through so many goalies in both the NHL and the prospect level. In the NHL, we've seen guys like Hiller and Ramo and Elliott and Smith come in and just nobody really be able to pick up where Kiprusoff left off with this organization. And in the system, we've had guys like Gillies and Parsons and Schneider come in, and nobody has panned out the way they were supposed to. I mean, John Gillies came in, drafted in 2012, won an NCAA championship with Providence, with Mark Jankowski. They won a NCAA championship. He was supposed to be the next big goalie. He's like 6'6", 225 pounds in this game. He was supposed to be the next big thing for the Calgary Flames. Didn't pan out. And then there was Tyler Parsons, 2016. We draft this guy, and he was supposed to be the next big thing. Won a Memorial Cup with the London Knights, and Matthew Tkachuk also had a winning pedigree. Comes in, like a lot of people were comparing this guy to be very similar to Jonathan Quick. He had the same type of style. He comes in, he doesn't pan out. Now, again, he's only 21 years of age, whereas Gillies is a little bit older at 25 years of age. But still, both of these guys aren't looking too promising for the Flames organization. So there's 2 things I did here. We'll start with David Rittich. One thing I did with David Rittich is I made him an 84 from an 82. This was the only change I made to the Flames roster prior to starting this franchise mode. And the reason being is because David Rittich is a starting goalie in this NHL, in the NHL. He is not a top-end goalie. I'm not saying he's a Carey Price, Andrei Vasilevsky, a guy like that. But he is a starting goalie. And they had him at an 82 instead of an 84. At an 82, and he should be something closer to like an 84. So all I did was bump him up by 2, and I made him a starter. They had him listed as a fringe starter at 82, and I made him an 84 as a starter. Look at Cam Talbot, for example. Cam Talbot is listed as a starter and an 81. So technically, Rittich was the exact same thing, or was only 1 better in overall than Talbot, and wasn't even a starter, whereas Cam Talbot is listed as a starter. That's not realistic. For people that follow this team, people that know who David Rittich is, he is a legitimate starter in this league. Again, I'm not saying he's a top-end goalie in this league. He hasn't proven himself yet, but he is a starter in this league. And so I wanted to make sure that I really put that into this game to give him a chance to be that starting goalie in this game for us going forward. Because what I've seen, and this is the biggest reason I did it, what I've seen is the Flames simulate in franchise mode in this game quite a bit. And what happens is the Calgary Flames do not simulate well in the first season, and they end up going at trade deadline or even before that and acquiring a goalie, a number 1 goalie, because obviously they don't have one in this game, according to Cam Talbot and David Rittich. That's not realistic because David Rittich is a starting goalie for the Calgary Flames. And if anybody watched him last year and the start of this year, he has already proven that he can be a starting goalie in this league. Now, again, I'm not saying he's a top-end goalie. I'm not saying he's even proven to be a full-time starter goalie. He still hasn't proven that. But he is a starter as of now. And so I wanted to make sure I got that in the game and got that out of the way, because goaltending is the Flames' biggest question mark and will continue to be the biggest question mark going forward. But one thing that might be able to at least solve a little bit of it is David Rittich. So I had to put that in the game here to make sure that we do have that Rittich does have a fighting chance at being that starter, at least for this season going forward. And again, you never know how this game will pan out. Maybe Rittich still doesn't pan out good, even though that I made him an 84 and a starter, and maybe we do have to go out and get another goalie. If that's the case, fine. We'll go do that. We'll get another goalie. We'll move on. But I want to give Rittich that chance. So all I did was bump him up to an 84 and put him as a starter. Now, in terms of the only other move I made here, you can probably see it on the screen, and that is Artem Zagadulin. This is the only other move I made, is I brought this guy into the game because he was not in this game. So I created him in the game. I made him a 73 with starter potential. I gave him his exact contract. He's on a 1-year, $84K contract, 24 years of age. Everything else is exact. But the reason I put him in this game is because I think he is the Flames' next big the next best chance to be a starting goalie. Like I said, with Gillies and Parsons, both of them had a shot at one point at being the next big goalie in this organization. Both haven't panned out as of now. In fact, John Gillies, we're going to get to it a little bit later in this game, but I really do think that we should make him our first transaction of our franchise mode here in NHL 20, and I think we should move on from John Gillies, just because we have such a logjam, and he is the best rated player. Even though he doesn't have a high trade value, I'd like to maybe at least get some picks back for him. I wouldn't mind rolling with Zagadulin as our starter in the AHL to continue to grow him, as well as Tyler Parsons. Zagadulin, you can see, is a 73. He is slightly better than Parsons. If you watched him in the preseason and training camp, he performed way better than any goalie on this list, probably other than David Reddick. So that's why I made him slightly better than Tyler Parsons. He's also 3 years older than Parsons, so I made him a 73, whereas Parsons is a 68. But they both have the same potential, medium starter potential. So if we use these two guys in the AHL, and then we use Riddick and Talbot in the NHL, let Wolf continue to grow down in the CHL, then we can probably move on from both Schneider and Gillies, at least one of them for sure. So that's the goaltending situation. It's kind of a mess. I try to make that as short as possible, my spiel there, but it is a mess, and we do need to address that going forward. Again, believe that David Riddick can be the answer for at least this season and potentially going forward. I wanted to give him that shot. That's why I made him an 84 and a starter potential. I think that's fair compared to what some of the other... Again, go look at what Carey Price and Andrei Vasilevsky and all the top-end goalies are in this game. They're a high 80s. Some of them are 90s. I think both Price and Vasilevsky are actually a 90 overall. I didn't make Riddick even close to that. All I did was put him as an 84 because I think he at least has the potential to be a starter. It'll be interesting to see what Mike Smith is in this game. Can we do that? Can we look at... we can view lines here. Just want to see what Mike Smith is, because if Smith is a starting goalie, or is rated as a starting goalie for the Oilers, then there's no way Riddick shouldn't be, because Riddick is way better than Smith, obviously. So let's take a look. Yeah, Smith is an 82, Koskinen's an 82. So they were the same as Riddick, but I bet you they're both starters. No, Smith is actually he has starter potential, but his role is a backup goalie. Same with Koskinen. So that didn't really help prove my point, but still, I think Riddick. If you see Smith and Koskinen at an 82, Riddick should definitely be an 84, is what I'm trying to get to. So I think it's fair where I put Riddick. I think it gives him a shot, like I said. And again, if it doesn't pan out, maybe he still doesn't pan out in this game. Maybe he just doesn't simulate well at all. We will move on. That's fine. But I just want to make it as realistic as possible. And in the real NHL, Riddick actually does have a shot at being a starter in this league. So and then in terms of prospects with Parsons and Gillies and Zagadulin, we'll see how that pans out there. But wanted to make sure I got that goaltending as accurate to real life as it is. So that's why I did that. So again, that was a long spiel, but goaltending has always been a question mark for this organization. A lot of people that did season simulations for the Calgary Flames had goaltending as the biggest question mark there, and it is for a reason, because ever since Kiprusoff left, things just have not. Everything has just looked like a question mark in the Flames goaltending department ever since the departure of Kiprusoff. So we'll try and address that here in NHL 20 as well. Obviously, if we're going to plan on winning the Stanley Cup, we're going to need a good goalie to do so. No team that wins the Stanley Cup doesn't have a half-decent goalie, so we'll obviously have to address that if we're going to win the Stanley Cup. So quickly, what I want to do here is I want to simulate up to opening day, because we're going to start our franchise mode here on opening day against the Colorado Avalanche here on October 3rd. That's where we're going to start our franchise mode with the Calgary Flames this year. What we're going to do is we're going to skip this preseason just this time. Going forward, we're going to do the preseason as training camp. What I like to do in my franchise modes is in the preseason, I like to treat it as training camp. I like to dress a lot of our AHL and prospects that are fighting for the NHL spots. I like to let them battle it out in 7 games, and then after 7 games, whoever played the best cracks our final spots, like our 12th and 13th forward and our 6th and 7th defenseman spots on our NHL roster. But we won't do that this time around. We'll do that in the next few seasons. We'll start with opening day, and we'll start with the roster that this EA Sports has for the Calgary Flames. So we're going to start with their roster, and we're going to go from there from opening day. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to simulate up to opening day against the Colorado Avalanche, and I'm also going to go in and edit all of our NHL and AHL lines. just to make sure they are what they are. So give me a few seconds. I'm going to run and do that quickly. All right, so we're back here with franchise mode. So what I did is I went ahead and edited our lines in the NHL and AHL, and I simulated up here to opening day in the NHL against the Colorado Avalanche. So got through that preseason. I think we went something like 4-3. Doesn't really matter. Like I said, we'll worry about doing that for the next few seasons. But just quickly before we start our first season here at the Calgary Flames, let's just take a quick look here at what our lines look like. So I did go ahead and just pretty much keep all the lines the same. I made a few tweaks in terms of like special teams and stuff, but hey, we'll start with exactly what they have here in terms of Gaudreau, Monahan, Lindholm, Tkachuk, Backlund, Fro, Bennett, Ryan, and Lucci, and then Zarnik, Jankowski, and Mangiapane. We'll start with that. Again, we'll see how the Flames do in the first few games here in the first month, and we'll make lineup changes accordingly. But I like what we have there. Giordano, Brody to start, Hanifin, Hamnick on that second pairing. A nice +3 there. And then Valimaki and Rasmus Andersson. I put Rasmus Andersson in over, or excuse me, I put Juuso Valimaki in over Michael Stone. Like I said, these are two guys that we really want to grow along with Hanifin. So we want to make sure they're getting a lot of ice time. So making sure we're playing them all season when we can if they're healthy. Again, those line chemistries on the right there in terms of line chemistry for both the defense and forward. I'm not going to pay too much attention to them. They're new in this game, but I don't really think they affect the game too much. They're kind of more things for, I think, player morale and things like that. So we won't worry. They don't really affect the simulation is what I'm trying to say. So we won't worry too much about them. It'll be nice if we can get them all in the pluses, like you see with their defensive pairing, where it's +1 there, +3, and then just 0 right now chemistry between these two guys, which does make sense. But I don't think they really do affect the game that much. So we'll try and abide by them, but at the same time, we're going to try and just keep our lines adjusted according to how good our talent is and the way we want to construct our lineups instead of just listening to the line chemistry. So just quickly there, looking at our power play, I'm going to keep the power play the exact same the way they have it here. It's Gaudreau, Monahan, Lindholm, Gaudreau, Monahan, Lindholm, Giordano, and Tkachuk. I put Mangiapane here in the second unit with Backlund and Bennett, and then I put Anderson in here with Brody instead of Hanifin. And then looking here at our 4-man unit here, that is fine. The PK, look at that +3 for both lines, so I'm not even going to touch it. The 3-man, put Monahan and Backlund in there as well. And again, if our PK is struggling, we're going to change it up as well throughout the season. Same with the PP. Looking at our goaltenders, Cam Talbot should not be starting. Don't know why he's there. There's David Rake. He's our starter. We'll go with him, Cam Talbot, as the backup. And our two scratches are Michael Stone and Alan Quine. Now, what I did is I put Oliver Shillington down in the American League because really there's no reason to carry two extra defensemen. Barring injury, we'll bring in Michael Stone because we do have him, and he is a veteran at 80 overall. So we'll put him in, and then we can give Shillington a lot of time in the American League and grow him there. And then Alan Quine is our 13th forward in case we have any injuries up front. Just taking a quick look here at our American League team. That's our scratches here. I just want to go by starting lineup. So I'm not going to go through this really. I didn't really touch it. The only thing I really made sure to do was give Dylan Dubé top line minutes in pretty much all situations, as well as putting in some guys here that have better potential than other guys. So that's what I did up front. I believe guys like Rajewska and then Godwin here. We want to grow those guys along with Dubé. And then on the back end, like I said, only thing I did was put Oliver Shillington in pretty much every situation. That goes for special teams and everything as well. So not going to go through that. In terms of extras, these are the guys that are, not extras, sorry. We'll look at goalies first. Zyga Doolin, like I said, he's going to be our starter. Tyler Parsons, these are the two we're going to roll with in the American League. As I previously said, John Gillies and Nick Schneider right now sitting, but we'll go with that. And then scratches, these are the guys that are not playing right now for us in the American League because we just don't have the room for them. So that's what the lines look like quickly in the NHL and in the AHL. I just wanted to show you that quickly before we start opening day. The one thing is, like I said, I think I want to make our very first transaction of this franchise mode here in episode 1 with the Calgary Flames, and I think I want to make our first move, obviously being John Gillies. So what we're going to do here is, because again, let's look at that goalie screen really quickly here. That log jam of goalies, like you just saw in the lines, we just have no place for either Nick Schneider or John Gillies. I'll keep Schneider just because I don't know why, but we'll try and get rid of John Gillies here. Give him a fair shot with another team that wants a starting goalie in the American League, because he is listed as a starter, a minor league starter. You can see right there with potential as a fringe starter. But 77 overall, he's going to be useful to somebody, just not us. So I want to find a team here that is interested in him. I believe the Stars were, but they just don't have the space. So we're going to continue on here till we find the Minnesota Wild. See if we can work out a trade with the Minnesota Wild here. Obviously, I just want to be bringing back some draft picks. We really don't have the salary to do too much more at this point. So we'll see if we can get a 4th round pick for John Gillies. To me, that looks pretty fair there on the screen. It would work with their system, work with us. Let's see if the Minnesota Wild will take give us a 4th, for John Gillies, and it's not going to go through. So they don't want to give up a 4th. Can we get at least a 5th for John Gillies? I'll see if we can get a 5th. I don't want to go too much lower than a 5th, but see if this goes through. And it does. There it is. John Gillies to the Minnesota Wild for a 5th round pick in this year's upcoming draft. So our first transaction has been made here in NHL 20 franchise mode, and it is moving on from our 2012 goaltender, our 2012 draft pick goaltender in John Gillies, giving him a fair shot and kind of thinning out that logjam on our back end there in terms of goalie. So that is that. I think we are ready to start our franchise mode here at the Calgary Flames in terms of the regular season. And I don't want this video to go too long, so we will try to probably won't get through the entire month of October, but we'll try to get through as much as we can here with the Calgary Flames. So let's start here with game number 1 of the season against the Colorado Avalanche, the same team that eliminated us in 5 games last year in April. Like I said, one of the best regular seasons that the Calgary Flames ever had in franchise history, and then came to a halting stop against the Colorado Avalanche. So we are going to do this one in real-time sim because it is the opening game of our season. So let's see what we've got here. Here's our first look at the power play this season, and it does nothing. So we're hoping that we can pick up where we left off last year in the regular season. We had such an incredible season, lots of offense. Hopefully that picks up here, and David Rittich is back between the pipes instead of Mike Smith this year. So through the first period, so far nothing happening in that first period. So let's get on to the second period, and I just accidentally clicked sim by the period. So there is Sam Bennett getting our first goal of the regular season. Sam Bennett beating Philip Grubauer. They also get one from their newly signed RFA Mikko Rantanen. So it is 1-1 after 40 minutes of play, and let's get to the third period. We'll do real-time sim here for the third period as well. You can see they already got 30 shots on net, and there's Gabriel Landeskog making it 2-1 for them. We got 13 minutes here to fight back in our season opener, and there's Noah Hanifin. Huge goal there by Hanifin. Flames tie this game up, and it is tied at 2, 6 minutes to go here. What do the Flames have? You always want to win this first one. Get off to a good start. And are we going to overtime? Oh, McKinnon with 6 seconds left. Are you kidding me? Nathan McKinnon. Oh, my goodness. That is, wow. That's totally a Nathan McKinnon thing to do. So, wow. Okay, and that is that. We lose our first game in regulation. So close to getting at least a point out of this one, but we don't. The Colorado Avalanche beat us. Just quickly looking here in terms of plus minuses. Nothing really going on here in terms of plus minuses. Oh, Valimaki was a -3, so that's kind of tough to see in his the rookie for us, but we'll take it. We'll move on. It's only game number 1. Just want to look at who was leading us here in ice time. Giordano, Brody, Monahan. Yeah, so pretty much the usual guys. And how did John Gillies, David Rittich do here? 927, not too bad. Did face 41 shots, so they did throw a lot of shots at Rittich. Kind of similar to what they did in the playoffs there. So much of the same there. But we'll move on. We're 0-1 to start the season. We now have our home opener against the Canucks, so now we're going to sim every game by the period to make it go a little bit faster. But off to a 0-1 and 0 start here for the Calgary Flames. See if we can pick it up here in game number 2 on the season. We're going to keep the lines the same. David Rittich will stay in net for the Flames here. See if we got anything here in game number 2. So we're going to sim by the period. So first period for the Flames, nothing. Second period, home opener, 3 big goals, Johnny Gaudreau, Derek Ryan, Austin Czarnik. Good to see Johnny Gaudreau get his first goal, hopefully of many for the Calgary Flames. 3-0 and the third period, and we don't add anymore, so we'll take the 3-0 shutout over the Vancouver Canucks. So David Rittich shuts out the Canucks by a score of 3-0. Good to see there. Just quickly looking at, I want to see how many shots Rittich got here in this one. But good to see there. 24 shots for the 24 saves, excuse me, for the shutout for David Rittich. So not a bad start to the season for Rittich. Like I said, he is a starting goalie, so he should be performing like a starting goalie. We just need the rest of our team to capitalize on helping him get the wins here. Is what I'm trying to say. So let's move on to game number 3 here. We got the LA Kings. We're going to keep the lineups the same as our shutout performance over the Vancouver Canucks. Game number 3 as we continue to roll here through the beginning of the season. And here we go. First period, Flames Kings. They get 2 by Brown and Ledoux. Johnny Gaudreau gets the second of the season. We trail the Kings 2-1 heading into the second period, where we get a goal. They get a goal. Trevor Lewis and Derek Ryan. It's 3-2. Can we fight back in the third period? Come on, Flames. There we go. Huge comeback in the third period by the Calgary Flames. Mangiapane twice, and then Noah Hanifin. That is what you like to see there. Really good stuff there to see the comeback back for the Calgary Flames. I just want to look here at plus minuses. Big night for Hanifin and Hamnick, and just our leaders in ice time here for the Calgary Flames. Like I said, the usual suspects there. And then in terms of goaltending, another good night for John, or I guess okay night there for David Rittich. I kind of jumped to it. 8-9-3 is not too bad, but still he's getting the wins and he's getting the job done. So that's all that matters for David Rittich. So we'll keep him in. We'll probably give Talbot a game here coming up. Just look at our schedule. Look at our schedule, by the way, for this month. Like, this is insane. We have games every single Tuesday, every single Thursday, every single Saturday, and pretty much every single Sunday, but never a game on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Like, that is like a perfectly scheduled schedule. Like, I mean, everything's just spaced so nicely. There's basically just one day off between each game, so that's kind of weird, because that's the real schedule for the Calgary Flames. So it's kind of weird how that happens. Usually scheduling is not that easy to make for the NHL. Here we go. We have the 4-0 Dallas Stars. They are undefeated. Let's try and end that undefeated streak for the Dallas Stars as we move into game number 4 of the season for the Flames that are 2-1 on the season. So here we go. Game number 4, Stars Flames, first period. 3 huge goals. Jankowski scoring twice. Sean Monahan picks up his first goal of the season. Big goal there from Monty. It's 3-0 Flames. Second period, we get 2 more. Backlund and Monahan. They get 1 from Steven Johns. And third period, and we get another goal. Couple goals there. Monahan again. And I believe Jankowski just got the hat trick. Not too sure, but that is an offensive onslaught by the Calgary Flames. That's what you like to see. Sean Monahan, got a hat trick as well, as did Mark Jankowski. So dueling hat tricks for 2 of our centermen. That's not a bad way to start the season for both Monahan and Jankowski. Pretty good there to see. Elias Lindholm gets 3 assists. Johnny Gaudreau gets 2 assists. And then Jankowski and Monahan with the hat tricks. Really cool to see there. 9.6 save percentage for David Rittich. Back to having a pretty good night there. Obviously, that seemed like a pretty good night all around for the Calgary Flames. So not too bad of a start, 3-1-0. We're going to try and get up to maybe about halfway through this month. See what we got here. Let's see how fast we can sim through these games. Maybe we can get the whole month in. So let's get right to the Vegas game here. 3-1-0 is our record. They are 2-1-1, I believe. I just saw. So here we go. By the period, first period, 3 more goals. Jankowski is just staying red hot. Johnny Gaudreau, Sam Bennett on Malcolm Subban. This is really good for Mark Jankowski. This is a year he has to prove himself. Really glad to see this, that he can stay up there. Second period, we add another one. That is TJ Brody with his first of the season, beating Marc-Andre Fleury. And then third period, they get a couple, but we get a couple as well. Johnny Gaudreau, a 2-goal night. Derek Ryan, they get a couple from Stastny, I believe it was there. So another good night for the Calgary Flames. We're staying hot. That's what we need to see. 2-point night for, obviously, Gaudreau, Hamnick, Monahan, Ryan, Bennett, Kachuk, there with an assist, and then Rittich, 9.35. So really good night by Rittich. I want to get Talbot into a game here at the start of the season. But at the same time, Rittich's playing really well. And like I said, we got no back-to-backs here. What we'll do here, again, to keep this realistic, is with back-to-backs, we'll give Talbot and Rittich each a game on the back-to-backs. We're not going to play Rittich 80, 70 games this season just because we can. We'll try and keep it as realistic as possible because, again, no goalie's going to play that in real life. That's just not realistic. So just taking a look there, I believe we're at the top of the Pacific Division standings. I can't control the little screen there on the right side with the standings, but I believe we are in the top spot. So let's continue to roll here. We got San Jose Sharks to end this little 3-game road trip through the West. First period here, Flames Sharks, 2 goals by us, Frolik and Monahan, but they also get 2 by Timo Meier and Barclay Goodrow. Second period here, Flames adding a goal, Michael Frolik. Good to see him beat the Airdrie native and Arundel. And third period, we can add another 2. There is our captain, Mark Giordano, the reigning Norris Trophy winner, gets his first 2 goals of the season, and one of them coming shorthanded. If I'm not mistaken, that might be our first shorthanded goal of the season. Good to see there by Mark Giordano. Again, coming off a Norris Trophy season, 89 overall. He should be performing well this season. Don't know how many years left we have of Giordano being a top-end defenseman in this game. Obviously, I expect him to drop significantly from an 89 next season. Even this season, we could see him go down to like an 87 and 86 and 85. Wouldn't surprise me, just because he is up there in age. 3-point night for Backlund Frolik. 2 goals there for Mark Giordano, the captain, and then David Riddick or Cam Talbot play this game. So they do have the auto rotation in. So you know what? That's okay. I wanted to get Talbot in for a game anyway. He performs a .923 save percentage there. So that's not too bad. I thought I took auto rotate the goalies off, but auto rotation off, but I guess not. That's fine. You know what? Let's leave Talbot in for this game against Philly, because this is his former team. He had a pretty good night. I want to get Riddick back in there because Riddick's been playing well, but let's leave Cam Talbot in here for this game against the Philadelphia Flyers. So I just want to quickly go here to goaltending to make sure he is left in. So let's put Talbot in there, and then we'll put Riddick back in for the Detroit game. But I guess that was a back-to-back anyway against Vegas and San Jose. Maybe that's why they put him in, because it was a back-to-back game. So that's what I said. I want to keep it realistic. I want to put him in for back-to-back games, so that could be why they put him in there. So if that's the case, then that's fine. That's what we want to see anyway. There you see us here in our standings. Just taking a quick look as we're about halfway through the month. 10 points there for the 10 points there for the Calgary Flames in 6 games played. We're tied with the Anaheim Ducks for some reason. The Oilers up there as well. Canucks. Kind of strange to see those teams at the top of the Pacific Division, but we are at the top. That's exactly where we want to be. Again, that's where we project to be as a Stanley Cup contender. So let's get through this Philadelphia game. Cam Talbot playing back-to-back games here for us. And let's see if we can continue to stay red hot. First period, they get a goal by Nolan Patrick. Second period, they get 2 more. We do get one from Mangiapane, but they get 2 from Claude Giroux, their captain. It's 3-1. Third period, do we have a comeback in this? We do. We tie the game up. Andrew Mangiapane, his second. Sam Bennett. So I like to see this depth scoring here on the third line. That's what you like to see. We have tied this game up for the first time this season. We're going overtime, and in overtime, nothing. Looks like we're going to a shootout. In the shootout, the Flyers do win there in the shootout. The game winner off of the stick of Claude Giroux. So we'll take it. We'll take the 1 point. It's against an Eastern team. We're not giving anything up there in terms of points to the other team. But we would have liked to see the 2 points. But we'll take the 1 point. We're still staying red hot there. Mangiapane, Bennett having a good night there. And Cam Talbot, 906. Not too bad, but we will put David Riddick back in. Good to get Talbot's feet wet a little bit here in this season and get him some games. So here's our first injury of the season. Again, we set the injuries at 15 at the beginning of this episode because we want to keep it realistic as we are about, 7 games in, and we have our first injury. That's about realistic. Elias Lindholm has been injured with a bruised hand. Estimated return October 28th. So we'll have to just quickly edit our lines here. I'm just going to quickly do this. Mangiapane has been playing really well. I'm going to bump him up to that top line, and we'll have to get Alan Quine here into some games now. Obviously, it's going to put Quine here. It's going to put Quine in all of Lindholm's spots here when we go substitute in all lines. That is fine. Oh, we'll go back to edit lines here. That's fine. We'll go with that. Just go here. Chuck, Ryan, and Mangiapane has been playing really well for us, so let's get him in here into some games. There we go, Mangiapane. So again, that's fine because I think it is the what is it, the 15th, 16th that we are, 17th that we are now on here with the Detroit Red Wings. So he's only going to miss about 10 days. We can leave Alan Quine in there for 10 games. Usually I wouldn't, but I'm just too lazy right now to go in and enter our lines. Plus we're rolling, so let's just keep going. And I want to try and get to the end of this month to end this episode. So let's just go here as fast as we can against the Detroit Red Wings. 5-1-1. They're only off to a 1-5-0 start, so this should be a good game for us. First period, 2 goals, Johnny Gaudreau. They do get 1 as well. Second period, and they get another goal, 2-1 for them. Third period, come on, come back. No, so we lose to the 1-5-0 Detroit Red Wings somehow by a score of 2-1. Just not enough offense there for the Calgary Flames. First game without Elias Lindholm. Looks like Cam Talbot did have to come in for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That's not a good sign at all because Riddick was playing well at 9-3-1. But the fact that Talbot had to come in for the final 2 minutes, that could mean an injury. So let's hope that's not the case. And doesn't look like it's going to be the case. So that is that's good. Hopefully that was just a minor thing, for maybe just a minor injury there for David Riddick, but hopefully he's back into the fold here. So LA and then the Anaheim Ducks, and then we finish off the month with games against Washington and Florida, I believe. Winnipeg in there for the Heritage Classic as well. So let's simulate this game here against the LA Kings. And then we'll end the episode here at the end of this month. So first period, we get a goal from Johnny Gaudreau. They get one from Drew Doughty. It is 1-1. Second period, they get a goal here from Ilya Kovalchuk. And third period, lots of scoring going on. We do tie it up, so we pull even. Goals from Tkachuk, Bennett, and Gaudreau on the power play. So we will go to overtime. Again, don't want to give a divisional rival a point, but hopefully we can snag the extra point here, and we do. In overtime, off the stick of the captain, Mark Giordano, beating Jack Campbell, and that's what you like to see there. Pretty wild one here in Los Angeles. But we will take it. 3-point night for the captain, 2-point night for Quine, who steps in for Lindholm, 2-point night for Gaudreau and Monahan. So I think Quine's doing okay on that top line, just for, again, he's only playing until Lindholm is back. David Riddick, with maybe one of his first poor performances of the season, only faces 20 shots, only makes 16 saves. So not the best night there for Riddick, but we will take it. Talbot's coming in anyway because it's back-to-back nights. So let's get Talbot in here for a game against the Anaheim Ducks. Again, you can see I'm not listening to that chemistry on the side. It says -1 for Gaudreau, Monahan, and now Mangiapane. But again, Mangiapane's been playing, or not Mangiapane, excuse me, Quine. I do have Mangiapane. Sorry, I have Mangiapane on that top line, not Quine. I was talking like I had Quine on that top line. But no, it is Mangiapane. But I think Mangiapane is doing fine on that top line. Again, it's only till Lindholm's going to come back. 11 points through 9 games for Johnny Gaudreau. 6-2-1 on the season. And let's get through these final few games of the month here. So simulate here against the Anaheim Ducks. Another divisional game. We want to try and get 2 points. I know it's early. Still want to try and get both points here in this one. First period. Wow, look at that scoring. 4 goals. Jankowski, Mangiapane, and Gaudreau. Again, that is why Mangiapane's fine on that top line. He's really stepped up so far this season, and I'd like to see that for sure. All right, second period here. And we get another one. There's Michael Frolik beating John Gibson. And third period, and we will keep that a 5-1 score. So that is a pretty good game for the Calgary Flames. Good bounce back game there against the Anaheim Ducks. I don't know why I keep saying John Gillies. Cam Talbot comes in and has a pretty good night by the looks of it. Johnny Gaudreau, 3 points. Sean Monahan, Mark Giordano, and Andrew Mangiapane fitting in just fine with 2 points. 9-6-0 for Cam Talbot. Not a bad night there. So that's looking good for the Calgary Flames. So let's get right up to this Washington game, and do I want to put Riddick back in? Yeah, I do. I want to put Riddick back in quickly. I was going to give Talbot that game. He was coming off a pretty good game, but let's get Riddick back in there. So let's go goalies here just quickly. They got Riddick back in there for us, so that is good. So let's play the Washington Capitals. They have an identical record to us, 7-2-1 for both of our teams here. So let's see if we can get the win here against an Eastern Conference Washington Capitals. First period, 2 goals there. Alex Ovechkin and Yevgeny Kuznetsov. So the Caps are up 2-0. Second period, come on Flames, nothing. Can we fight back in the third period? No. So they shut us out 2-0. Offense goes silent in this one. Not that big of a concern, though. I'm not even going to look at the stats because our offense has generally been fine. And there is another injury. Mark Giordano, our captain, is out with a sore knee. Estimated return is November 5th. He's going to miss the Heritage Classic. So that's not good. Okay. So here, give me a second. I'm just going to edit our lines. All right, so I brought Michael Stone in there. He's going to make his season debut here against the Florida Panthers. I believe I bumped up Hanifin to the top pairing with Brody, and then put in Valimaki up into his spot and put Stone on the third pairing. So everybody just bumping up pretty much on that left side. Hanifin and Valimaki bumping up some extra ice time for them. So let's get into this game here against the Panthers. We should be expecting Elias Lindholm back here as well pretty soon. So sucks though that we're going to miss Gio for the Heritage Classic, but it is what it is. First period, second period against the Panthers. There's Quine, there's Bennett beating Bobrovsky, and then Brody and Quine again. Vincent Trocheck scoring for them, but we'll take the 4-1 win there for the Calgary Flames. I just want to quickly look here. First game without the captain. And we get 2 points tonight from Gaudreau and Quine. Quine, some reason, is playing so well since coming into the lineup for Elias Lindholm. It's going to be hard to take him out. Cam Talbot and David Rigg, for some reason, split this game. Again, not another good sign here. I don't know why they're doing this. Riddick goes 8 for 8 in terms of shots, and then Talbot comes in and plays pretty well for the rest of the night. But again, not sure why they keep taking Riddick out unless it's an injury, and we really hope it's not an injury. Doesn't look like it is. Again, it could be a minor in-game injury, but hopefully they're not big injuries because we definitely can't afford any more injuries. And there is Elias Lindholm back to play the Heritage Classic here against the Winnipeg Jets. So we will, Mangiapane has been playing really well for us, as has Alan Quine. Jankowski's been pretty good too. You know what? We are going to put Mangiapane down here. Zarnik hasn't been very noticeable this season. 1 goal, 5 assists through 12 games. That's not bad, but when you look at Quine, who's come in and put up 5 points in 5 games, I like that out of Quine. Mangiapane has put up 6 points in 12 games, and all 6 of them goals also is a +1. So it's going to be tough, but we'll take out Zarnik for now, and we'll get Elias Lindholm back into his top spot there at the top line, and then we'll put Mangiapane. How good has Bennett been? 10 points in 12 games, and Mangiapane has 6 points in 12. So yeah, we'll keep Bennett there on the third line, but Mangiapane and Quine are now fighting for more ice time, as you can see. So we'll keep those lines as is, keep David Rigg in net, and we now have the Heritage Classic game here against the Winnipeg Jets. Again, in this game, it's nothing special; it's just another regular game. But let's try and get the win in Mosaic Stadium in Regina. Let's see if we can get this one. First period, there's the first goal of the Heritage Classic, none other than Johnny Gaudreau in front of however many thousands of cold fans in Regina. Power play goal there for the Flames, 1-0. Second period, and there's a goal by Juuso Valimaki. I believe that's his first of the season. Good to see that out of Valimaki with some increased ice time with the injury to Mark Giordano, and that's the way it's going to be. 2-0 final for the Calgary Flames for the Calgary Flames. So the first game since the 2011 Heritage Classic is the first outdoor game for the Calgary Flames in which they shut out the Montreal Canadiens by a score of 4-0. I believe it was Mika Kiprusoff getting the shutout in that game. Rene Bourque, didn't he have 2 goals in that game? Ginla had an assist. Tonge had a goal. That was the last time the Flames played on outside ice. This many years later, the Calgary Flames win again, and it's another shutout, but this time by a score of 2-0. So we got 2 games left here to finish up the month of October, the Carolina Hurricanes and the Nashville Predators, and then we will end this episode here. So the Flames are 9-3-1 on the season, heading into this game against the Carolina Hurricanes. So first period, nothing. Second period, nothing. Johnny Gaudreau, Nieder Rider, and third period. Yes, Johnny Gaudreau. He stays red hot, pulls off 2 goals in this game. A huge win for the Calgary Flames. Riddick only allows 1 goal. Won't even look at the stats on that one. Good night for Johnny Gaudreau and the Flames. And our final game of the month is against the Nashville Predators. They're 8-2-2. We're 10-3-1. And let's get through this game here for the Flames, and then we will end this episode here. So first period, 2 goals, Derek Ryan, Michael Backlund. Second period, they get 2, Granlund and Victor Arvidsson, but another goal by the red hot Andrew Mangiapane, 3-2. And the final period has Rasmus Andersson with, I believe, his first goal of the season, and surprise, surprise, Johnny Gaudreau. And that one's shorthanded too for Gaudreau, so that's good to see. take a look here at our final stats of the final game of October, points with 3-point night for Michael Stone, who has 3 assists. So Stone stepping in for Giordano performs well. Backlund for a leak, that line playing well. Hamnick 2 points there as well. Gaudreau gets another goal, stays red hot, and then David Riddick 9-3-1. So Riddick some pretty good games since coming back for Cam Talbot. And that's the way we'll finish our month of October. So not a bad way to start off our franchise mode here with the Calgary Flames. We go 11-3-1 through 15 games, 23 points. You look at the standings there, we sit comfortably, not comfortably, but we sit number 1 there ahead of the Anaheim Ducks by 4 points. There's the Oilers and the Golden Knights just 2 points back at 17 each. The Kings 14 points, and the Sharks, Canucks, and Coyotes down there. So not a bad way to start a franchise mode with the Calgary Flames. We're going to end this episode here. We're going to pick up episode 2 of our franchise mode with the Calgary Flames here in NHL 20 with the month of November.